Hi guys, it's Kat here from knitcatpaddywhack.com. I have some really exciting videos for you planned in the next few weeks, but they are taking me a little bit of time, so I thought that I would just do a quick little series on absolute back to basics beginner knitting. So this is for people who have never knitted before in their life. And today I'm going to show you how to do the easiest cast on that you can think of, and this is great for teaching children because it isn't very complicated at all. And it's called the backwards loop cast on. So for those of you who are new to my channel, I am a fairly new YouTuber, but I like to post tutorials for busy people or people who are new to knitting, and especially for people who want to teach children to knit, because I think that the fibre arts are a wonderful craft. It's something that I found later in my life. When I was 20, I taught myself how to knit properly. My grandma taught me how to do the knit stitch, and she didn't teach me to cast on or cast off, which I hear from lots of people. They say, my grandma taught me to knit, but I can't cast on or cast off, so I can't start. And so I thought that I would start off with this backwards loop cast on because anyone can cast on now and you can start knitting. So to begin with, all you'll need is some yarn and some needles. So you need appropriately sized yarn and appropriately sized needles. So if you are absolutely new to knitting, you'll want to buy something that either calls itself DK or double knitting yarn or 8-ply. In Australia, where I am, it's often called 8-ply. That's, I would guess, like the basic standard kind of yarn. Find something that's plain, nothing with novelty beads or anything to begin with if you're new to knitting. And what you'll want is probably 4mm needles. I'm using 3.75mm needles, which is the equivalent of a UK 9. I'm not sure what it is in the US, but I will put a little thing on the screen when I look it up. That's just because my tension is a little bit loose, so I won't go into those details, but if you're new to knitting, get yourself some double knitting or DK yarn, also called 8-ply, and some 4mm straight needles. They can be made of plastic, wood or metal or whatever you find. Anything will work. So what we're going to start off with is the end of our yarn. We want to leave, I would say leave about 6 inches or 15 centimeters at the end. That's just a guess, it's probably a bit more, but you want to leave at least that much for most projects because you often will need to weave in the end when you finish to make it neat. So the first thing we're going to do, I'll just get in focus. Now, there we go, okay, is we're going to do something called a slip knot. So this is the basic knot that we use in knitting, and it is the start of a lot of different ways to cast on, including this one, which is the backwards loop. So what we're doing is we're just going to make a little loop, and we're going to pull the yarn through, but instead of pulling like just a normal knot, we're just going to pull a little loop of yarn through and pull it tight. This is also called a quick release knot. As you can see, if I pull it, it's gone. It doesn't leave a little bobble at the end. So we'll just do that again. I'll show you one more time in case it's brand new to you. So we'll make a little loop, take another little loop of yarn and pass it through. Just pull it tight. So that's our slip knot. So we're going to take one needle, put our slip knot over the top and just tighten it. Now we're taking the yarn that is attached to the ball, so this is commonly called the working yarn, and this bit is called the tail. So all we're going to do is we'll take our thumb, take it over the top of the working yarn and up. So what we've done is we've made a little loop there, and we're going to use our needle just to pick up that little loop and pull it tight. What we've got there is we've made a stitch, and because we had the slip knot on there already, we have now 2 stitches. So I'll just show you some more how it works. So we take our thumb, pass it around over the top of the working yarn and up again, and then we pick it up with our needle. We'll do a few more. You should soon get into a bit of a hang of it. Now, if you're absolutely new to knitting, it's going to be hard to get the tension the same between each stitches. There, you can see I've done it there already. I've made it looser here than the other stitches. That's something that you'll get better at with practice, but you can sort of adjust it if it's not quite right, just to make it a little bit more even. You can see I've evened it up a bit there. So I'll just show you a few more. This is it, really. This is the backwards loop cast on. And it's not a bad, it's a pretty versatile cast on, I would say. It's commonly used, I commonly use it when I need to cast on just a few stitches in the middle of my knitting. So if I'm going to knit a buttonhole and I need to add a few little stitches, or if I'm going to do the gusset of a glove, you just need to add 1 or 2 stitches. This backwards loop cast on is really good for that. So basically when you're ready, when you've cast on enough stitches to your liking, you can just start knitting. It's as easy as that. And I hope that this tutorial has helped you, has taught you something about back to basics knitting. It's something that you can teach kids really easily, and I think that if we're going to be encouraging children to try out the fibre arts, it's good to start at their level. We don't want to get too complicated or to make them have to work really hard for a long time before they get any benefit, because that will just lead them to give up. So I think that teaching them a really simple cast on like this is all they need to begin with, and as they get more confident, you can teach them more complicated cast-ons. And for those of you who have found my channel and you're an adult, don't feel like this is just for kids. It's a great cast-on, and like I say, I use it all the time. I use it for buttonholes, and I use it for thumb gussets, but you can use it for the start of any project. It will be great if you are new and you just want to knit a bunch of squares for a blanket. This cast on is perfectly good for that. So I hope that you enjoyed this very quick tutorial. I will see you next time with another absolute back to basics beginner knitting tutorial. Thank you, bye.